I think we're all looking for home. I think we're all looking for our place.
After a career of playing the dashing leading man in movies like Pretty Woman, An Officer and a Gentleman, and Chicago,
Help me out, spare change.
not long ago, Richard Gere turned his attention to the fringes and the forgotten.
What made you want to make this movie about being a homeless man?
There are 60,000 people homeless in New York City, and by some estimates, close to 1 million in the country. So it's a serious issue. It can be viewed as a problem, or it can be viewed as a responsibility we have.
No, that's not what it's about.
I'm homeless. I'm nobody. I don't exist.
You're reduced.
You don't exist. We do not exist.
What do you mean we don't exist?
We don't exist.
The film Time Out of Mind, which made its debut in Italy this past week, was a dozen years in the making and a labor of love for the actor. With very little dialogue and long-distance camera shots, Gere almost disappears on the streets of New York.
I think you start to actually feel what that's like to be fragmented in the world.
We met Gere in a very different world.
Hello.
At a screening in Rome, where he added some Hollywood sizzle to the already spectacular Villa Taverna, the U.S. ambassador's residence.
He's not only a fantastic artist, but he is an equally fantastic humanitarian.
John Phillips, America's ambassador to Italy, says he admires Gere's lifetime of advocating for the disadvantaged, and he believes the film's Italian debut will likely spark discussion.
We have a lot of government officials, a lot of politicians, people in power that should understand more about the causes of homelessness and the life of a homeless person.
And it's a small crowd, but I think an important crowd for a movie like this.
Hello, how are you? Which language do you speak?
Of course, in Italy, the issue of searching for a home has taken on new urgency, since nearly 400,000 migrants and refugees have arrived on this nation's shores since 2014. Fleeing war, persecution, and extreme poverty. Thousands have died making the dangerous crossing.
When you watch these pictures of these families coming across the Mediterranean, what goes through your mind?
Where am I safe in the world? Where am I safe? And you see a father with his kids and how horribly guilty he feels that he can't protect his family.
Gere says he wanted to hear firsthand from those who'd made that perilous journey.
To get to the other side
Arrivare dall'altra parte
shows a lot of courage.
dimostra di avere un grande coraggio.
So while in Rome, he visited community aid group Sant'Egidio, which provides shelter, language classes, and the tools refugees and migrants need to start a new life.
People always look at me a little funny. You want to hear my story? I just want to hear, how did you end up here? What happened? That room felt like we'd all known each other forever. Already it felt like I got your back.
Is that why you do it? Is that what you get out of hearing the stories?
I think that's what we're all about, is our stories.
Yes.
No problem, integration?
No, not a lot, because as a community here, it's super organized. And they help us
One of
a
those
lot.
stories was Nur Issa's, a Syrian who in April was rescued along with her family from a refugee camp in Lesbos, Greece, and brought to Italy by Pope Francis himself. We met Issa the night she arrived.
Can you believe that you're here?
No, no, I can't believe.
She told us she'd seen Gere's films back in Syria and never imagined meeting him here. Does a visit by someone like Mr. Gere really change anything? Does it really help?
I don't know. But maybe, I don't know. I hope.
Gere's visit certainly put the issue of refugees and homelessness on Italian front pages.
I watched you come into the press conference earlier, and there were TV cameras around you, people trying to take pictures, and I thought a celebrity has this ability to shine a light on an issue. It's also a huge responsibility.
I have to know a little bit what I'm talking about. That's really the responsibility. That's why I'm going to Lampedusa. If I'm going to talk about refugees, I got to be there.
The next day, he traveled to Lampedusa, an Italian island just off the coast of Tunisia. It's the entry point to Europe for thousands of refugees. Our cameras were not allowed inside the migrant center, but an employee gave us photos of the meeting, and we caught up with a reflective Gere afterwards.
This is a real deal situation when you look at the survival level here of people, but also the sense of joy. Hey, look around you. There's not sad people here. These are people who have created community.
For decades, Gere has fought for a number of communities, among them Tibetans, those living with HIV/AIDS, people without a home, and now people without a country.
Even when I met you, you put your hand on my shoulder. It's like you're looking for a connection in your work, with the people you meet.
When things slow down in their space and people look each other in the eye, something magical can happen. My father is 94 years old. I remember maybe 20, 25 years ago talking to my dad. I said, Dad, you've seen everything. All these incredible things and he finds it marvelous. I mean, when I started showing him FaceTime, and you could actually see us I can call you I can get him right now if he would figure out how to press the button.
How to answer.
But I said, this is just incredible. I said, Dad, all this stuff, do you think it makes life any better? No. For him, it's still this, where people realize that we have so much that we share.
Richard Gere is sharing his time, his spotlight, and his voice in hopes that somehow the world might be just a bit better if we work together, listen, and perhaps most of all, engage.
That simple connection makes everything meaningful.